Like to welcome you UN 75 Dialogue. Today we are going to talk about SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. I have guests consisting of students and professionals working in this field. I want to welcome them too. And now I want to start asking my questions about UN and SDGs, and especially SDG 8. Let's start with our student Mustafa Kemal. It's very important to get the opinions of young people, and I'm very curious about it. Hello, Mustafa Kemal again. And
Hello.
could you give us some information, your opinions about how will be the world in 2045 when the UN turns 100 years of age? How will the SDG targets be by then?
Okay, the first of all, I am computer engineering student. This is why I am going to evaluate this question from technical perspective. According to Moore's law, the power of computers doubles in every 2 years. So in 2045, the computers will be approximately 4.2 million stronger than now. When we look back what we did now with our existing technology, I can freely say that 2045 will be golden age for AI. We are going to see AI on nearly everywhere, the fully autonomous transportation, the cyber gadgets, and even maybe we will see the manager and the doctors managed by AI. And unfortunately, we can see the first variation of these managers at some airports, for example. They can boost operation effectiveness by up to 40% and reduce operation costs by millions of dollars. I said unfortunately because it proves that the threat is real and it is already here. We have already seen that automation have deeply impacted the labor markets. With automation 3.0, millions of workers lost their job, and the industry 4.0 is coming really fast. And imagine a factory with no workers, no human. It is fully managed by AI. So what are the workers going to do? How they are going to get their money? AI is not just a robotic arm. It can operate literally anything better than human. So I can say that there is no limit for AI. What can AI do? And from this perspective, AI will impact all types of labor markets, all types of market actually, really bad, and it will cause billions of people unemployed, and there probably will be educated people, not just the workers. When we consider the quickly increasing population of the world, I can freely say that the world is not ready for that, and the countries must be come together to solve this problem, incoming problem. And the second question, the SDG targets, I believe that the most of the problem will continue to be existing. I believe that poverty will not end, and it will continue to be a big problem. Unfortunately, the poverty is a major problem that trigger others. For example, hunger, bad health, education problems, and gender inequality, lack of energy, and many more. And developed countries will overcome most of the problems, but and reach their SDG goals. But the poor countries will continue to have this kind of problems. So that's it.
Thank you very much for this information. So, in briefly, we can say it's going to be having these same problems. The world will dealing with these problems in after
Yes.
100 years, the UN SDGs.
Yeah.
And what are the main obstacles and challenges that will block this vision? Maybe we need to talk about UN's work on these and what the UN can do better. So Jada, what do you think about what can UN do differently and how the UN change and reform? How can the UN better work with other actors? What would you advise the UN to do to address these challenges?
Um, Thank you, Melike, and thank you, Mustafa Kemal and other participations. I think this meetings are very important for the future, actually. And I want to go step by step for each questions because they are actually difficult to answer because I'm not an UN expert and I try to give some advice, but I will try my best. First, I think you asked what are the main obstacles and challenges to block this vision. I think there are two main obstacles. I can define them: external and internal obstacles. First of all, as we all know, it's COVID-19 process actually. It affects all the world, not only global, also local workers, local employees, and local companies. And this localization has a big effect on global market actually. So I can say COVID-19 is the biggest external factor to obstacle the vision of developments. And it's some reports says that in 2018 and 19, the economic growth was in a very high position, but now in 2020 with COVID-19, it started to decrease, and the reports show that in 5 or 10 years, the results will not be more than 2019 results. So it is difficult to go back and fix the problem because of COVID-19. And in internal factors, the wrong economic policies that companies using, they are about consumption, investment, and government spending, and net exports. Also, adapting to digitalization and internalization is the challenges for blocking to this vision. I can explain maybe more in detail about digitalization. All around the global market, global world become more digitalization in these days, and some companies cannot catch this development. And also internalization, global markets become more internalized than past. So they try to catch the global market and global economies and global issues actually. These are the obstacles that can I say. And the second question, also I want to add some more thing. It can be risky, but the geographical, political, and economical risks also are the main obstacles and challenges for the vision. Because economy, all world has a big crisis, especially after the COVID-19, and they can have effect on UN economic growth SDG. And second question was, you asked is about what can the UN do differently and how can the UN change and reform. There is a very huge concept, it's globalization. Of course, local market and local employees, local companies do their best to improve the economic crisis and to prevent the economic crisis. But I think UN should work with more local NGOs and more local Chamber of Commerce and Industry sectors. And also they can do something like factor analysis in SPSS. They should combine different dimensions of SDG factors. For example, they can combine inequality with decent work, or education with economic growth. So if they can combine these different dimensions, UN make some success. I don't want to say UN is unsuccessful, but in local, they can work actually for local people, local employees, for local companies. And you asked so many questions, Malike. And how can the UN better work with other actors? As I mentioned, they should collaborate with more local NGOs. For example, in Kayseri, there are lots of NGOs, but in Turkey, UN work with the most popular NGOs. So for this action, I think UN should collaborate with local NGOs in more depth, in more detailed way, and they should work with Chamber of Commerce and Industry sector, with universities actually, like AGU. They should make more collaboration, actually more they should make more collaboration with universities. Actually, they can need they can ask from the universities, for example, workshops or education platforms to support local NGOs from the perspective of UN. And also, for example, in Germany, an industry for zero is very important, and they should separate this vision to the other of to the world. And the fourth and the last question, I think you asked, what would you advise the UN to do address these challenges? My suggestion actually is that they should make more visible, like, good governance strategies. Companies actually and governments should have more idea about good governance strategies. And also, if we are living in industry for zero age, as Mustafa Kemal mentioned, for example, Internet of Things or operational technologies become wider and wider, and most of the companies try to use these technologies, but employers actually, they don't have enough idea about these technologies and about these developments. So my suggestion is that they should focus on, like, robotic coding and data science, for example, big data and cybersecurity issues more. Because in this developing world, now robots are working instead of people. So if they want to develop power of employees and power of commercials, they should, like, add more value added jobs to the companies. Robots can do everything, but robots can't do what value added jobs. So they should teach to companies, to governments, to employees that some technical issues, and they should focus on more on these topics, I think. And also, for example, like 3D printers can do many things in these days. So they should support these companies, actually, these more technological companies.
Okay, Jada, thank you very much for the giving information about the obstacles. You say also the COVID-19. These days we are dealing with it. And also you mentioned the importance of the working the local NGOs or local people is really important for this. And also you advise us, and you advise for the UN the working with the new concepts like Internet of Things, new technologies importance. Thank you very much for your given information. So what are duties in these matters as a university? What we are doing well? If you talk about specifically about SDG 8, Esra, could you please tell us about the activities carried out at Abdullah Gül University Career Center for SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm sure you're all aware, but Career Center is also aware of the social responsibilities. So we're not aiming to serve only our students, only AGU students, or only students in general. So we're trying to base all of our trainings, seminars, and we try to make sure that it's announced as widely as possible, and we can receive participants from different groups. Now that we have everything online, it's much more easy. I'm sure we're having participants from different parts of Turkey, not just from around Kayseri, because we don't have the problem of traveling now. We use social media very widely for that reason, to reach young people from all backgrounds, regardless of their background, whether they're student or not. We try to reach all of them. So, of course, we're all aware of the fact that academic degree or academic success in and of itself is not enough for getting a good job in this job market today. As Mustafa Kemal also mentioned, we're going towards a very different dimension where human competition is getting really strong. So they have to be able to compete with their personal skills, their professional skills, as well as their academic success. Because knowledge is accessible, much more accessible than in the older days, maybe 2 decades ago. Now they can reach everything online, but it's important that they turn inwards, they think about themselves, they try to grow up as a person, as a personality, and as a professional persona too, not just academically, information-wise. So we have actually a couple of different segments in our training programs. The first one is CV writing and or interview techniques trainings. In those sessions, we try to accept students or young people in general in smaller groups where we can work on their CVs really, or we can do maybe demo interviews if the group is available, if it's a small group. So it's not a seminar, it's mostly students giving feedback to each other, us giving feedback to them, and working actively on their actual CVs, which is the most important and basic step of job applications or internship applications. The second one is a long-term seminar series. It's called Career Talks. For Career Talks, we're trying to invite people from different sectors, not just different jobs, but really different sectors. So that everybody can find something for themselves, not just our students, but young people who would be looking for jobs. It's a venue for all of them to meet inspiring figures that normally you would watch on TV or you could watch at a conference, but you wouldn't have a small interactive environment to actually ask them your questions or to try to widen your network too, because if you meet in person, you're growing your professional network, and also you have the chance to ask them actual personal questions about their experiences, how they got there, how they became so successful, or what their advice is. So it's a very personal, very sincere environment for the students in general, where they can ask their questions to CEOs of top companies. The next one is, now that we have the pandemic area, since March, we are doing online career consulting. For that, we have a Pearson's digital career development kit, but also we're doing Zoom interviews and Zoom meetings with students as much as they demand, as frequently as they demand. So we're still having one-on-one meetings with students and alumni, actually. They're always welcome and they're always invited. So that's another part of it. If they want to work with us one-on-one on a certain question that they have about their professional life or about their professional skills, we meet them and we talk to them in person for as long as they need it. And well, lastly, we always try to keep the alumni network in general tight. We want to have a large AGU family where students, academics, staff, and alumni know each other. It's important because the network grows and therefore the information flows easily. Our alumni can actually share their experience with the students, and they are also helping us, tell the students what they have gone through as an AGU alumni, as a student of our university, what they have done wrong, what was their experience, what were the mistakes, and how they fixed it. So that experience sharing is really important. For that, we usually invite them as speakers so that they can talk to our students. Before the COVID-19 period, we were actually doing alumni homecomings, where on campus or in Istanbul, where our alumni are more dense, we were having meetings together with academics, students, and alumni in person. And again, all of those events are open to public. So anybody who wants to join can join our events all of them. It's free of charge. We don't want to serve only the students in an academic field. We don't want to be in that ivory tower. As a part of Abdullah Gül University, as a unit, we want to act with the community that we are in and for the community. So everything is open access and free of charge. I think that's pretty much what we do, and we're hoping that it's going to help young people in general, not just our students, to get better jobs and hopefully help alleviate the unemployment problem for a little bit at least.
I totally agree with you, Esra. Thank you very much. So today information is everywhere. We can reach it very quickly. So self-improvement is better needs for the work, for the jobs. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much again for also your work about it. And Fatma, we know that you have a project application related to decent work on behalf of our university. Could you tell us about the project and its relationships with Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Melike. As we all know, SDG-8 aims to provide a full employment and decent work for all women and men by 2030. And therefore, it's necessary to ensure sustainable economic growth. And our project aims to make a significant contribution to this goal by working on the jobs of the future of work in our region. According to World Economic Forum, 71% of jobs were done by people in 2018. And this ratio will drop to 52% in 2022. And 48% of the work will be done by machines and algorithms, as we hope. With the digitalization of the world, the ways of doing business are changing, and also, according to the OECD report, today's jobs will change rapidly and become automatic. This means that some jobs will arise as a result of new technologies in the world, and others will disappear. So these jobs are called the future of work. The main problem we have dealt with in our project, Kayseri is below the average of number of people working in the field of science and technology. That means future of work, we can say. In addition, gender equality is not enough in this area. According to the Gender Equality Report card prepared by an NGO in Turkey, Kayseri ranked 37th in the field of women and women's employment. For this reason, it's important to increase women's employment and create new business areas in Kayseri. As a result, the first goal of our project is to raise awareness about the future of work. The concept of future of work will be on the world agenda in the short time of, and awareness should be created to channel more people to the future of work. And the second aim is to train professional human researchers who can work in the future of work field. In Kayseri, there is a need for human researchers that can work in the future of work field in the short term. Training for the future of work
connection is not good right now.
Reach more people.
Mm-hmm.
A training portal and will be created for the future of work to reach more people and ensure its sustainability. With this project, we aim it will make significant contribution to SDG-8 by both contributing to women's employment, providing equality, and creating decent job opportunities. Thank you, Melike.
Thank you very much. I hope the good projects will be held with your work. And now I want to close our panel. Thank you very much, all of you. Hoping that the world will be a better place with UN studies. I hope all these problems will be solved 25 years from now. And the panels on happiness will be organized. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.